Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler,
And I'm Molly.
and today we're going to be talking about Tim Burton's Big Fish.
Yep. Big fish.
So, Big Fish is the story of a man, Will, who's trying to figure out. He's trying to sort through the tall tales and the facts of his father Ed Bloom's life.
Yeah, his dad likes to tell. His dad likes to give tall tales, I guess. You know, he likes to tell stories. He likes to embellish on things. So it's kind of hard for his son, to realize what's true and what's just a story.
Eventually, he learns that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, as long as you're with that person and you like them and you spend time together, I mean, does it really matter what their past was?
So this movie stars Ewan McGregor as young Ed Bloom and Albert Finney as older Ed Bloom.
Yep. We get lots of flashbacks, so we have to see both a young and old version of him.
Billy Crudup plays his son Will, and Jessica Lange plays the older version of his wife Sandra, and Alison Lohman plays a younger version of her.
Yep. Again, yeah, flashbacks. So we need, different actors.
Helena Bonham Carter plays a young and an old version of Jenny, a person who Ed meets when she's very young, when he first comes to the town, Spectre, and once again when he ends up buying the town.
Yeah, she's just a kid when they first meet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she also plays a witch with a glass eye who, if you look into her glass eye, then you see how you're going to die.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Robert Guillaume plays Dr. Bennett, an older version at least.
Yes.
He's basically the family doctor for the Bloom family.
Yeah, looks after him.
Marion Cotillard plays Josephine, Will's wife, who's expecting their first child.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Steve Buscemi, Danny DeVito, Deep Roy, amongst other actors, show up at different points in this story. We even get a small appearance from a young Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. There are some pretty big names in this movie.
Another big name is Matthew McCrory, who plays Carl the Giant. Now, McCrory was he suffered from gigantism in real life, and he eventually ended up passing away from complications from it at the age of 32. This is something that happens with people who suffer from this, as we've seen with such people as Andre the Giant.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but he does a really good job as the giant in this movie.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, pretty cool character.
So, Big Fish. You wouldn't happen to know if this is based off any book or anything, would you?
Yes, I believe it is a book. I am 90% sure I own the book, but 100% sure I haven't read it yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Who wrote it?
The book was written by a man named Daniel Wallace.
Yeah. I have not read it, but I think to my knowledge, it's a pretty short book. So I'm wondering if it's pretty different from the movie, because sometimes with the short books, it's hard to get a pretty exact adaptation. But I don't know. I'll have to read it and see.
Yeah. Oftentimes book adaptations of movies, or well, you know what I mean, change things here and there from the translation from page to screen, and it should be like this. I feel like adaptations should take what doesn't work in the novel and readapt it into what the medium of film can do best.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings, mostly because I'm a big book reader. So I want them to be as close to the book as possible.
Well, you see, it's one thing if they're changing story-based elements that really wouldn't have anything to do, wouldn't really matter if they changed. Like, say, let's take the Percy Jackson series. Annabeth was blonde in the books, right?
Yes.
And they changed her to a different color hair in the movies.
Yes.
On the one hand, that's not really too much of a change because it's just hair color. But on the other hand, why change it in the first place?
Well, you never read the books. It describes her a lot as blonde. All her siblings are blonde. It's a bigger deal than what you would think.
Okay. Bad example.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
We know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Well, actually, I may have messed up that analogy too.
That's okay.
If you're changing like story beats because you feel like, because you feel like it would be a better way to tell the story while not understanding the aspects of the story, then yeah, it's a bad choice. But if you're doing it because this is something that would fit the medium better, then, and it is a good choice, then by all means, go ahead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Take the ending of Jaws, for instance. In the book, the shark just ended up getting harpooned a whole bunch of times and just ends up bleeding to death because he couldn't, and also drowning because he couldn't actually swim because he had all those barrels stabbed into him. In the movie, he gets blown up. Much more cinematic.
I will agree that an explosion is much cooler.
But anyways, let's get back to Big Fish.
Yeah, we're getting off topic.
So, Will is trying to figure out what is real and what isn't in his dad Ed's life.
The son, he's heard these stories all through his life, and he's tired of hearing them, and he just kind of wants to know the truth.
Yeah, and throughout hearing these stories and just being with his dad, he realizes that whether they're real or not doesn't really matter. What really matters is spending the time he has with his dad and the time that he has left.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It's nice. It has a nice message.
And honestly, at the end, it's implied that maybe most of it was real.
Yeah, we see that some of the characters in his dad's stories are real. They might be changed a little bit. Like, for example, there were these twins who they were conjoined at the hip. But in reality, they were just identical twins.
Now, you could take this as one of two ways. Either when his dad was telling him these stories about these two women who were joined at the hip, he could have just meant that metaphorically, that these two were just it seemed like they were always with each other, rather than literally joined at the hip.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what Will put in his head when he was young and heard it, that, oh, they're actually stuck together.
Or it could have been literal and they got separated. It happens too.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is the ringleader who Ed worked for when he was working at the circus, trying to learn details about his future wife. Near the end of Ed's time working at the circus, he finds out that the ringleader is a werewolf.
Yeah.
Now, probably not.
Yeah, most likely that's not real.
It could have been a metaphor for alcoholism or something like that.
Yeah.
And Ed just wanted to make it seem a bit more fantastical for his son.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but alcoholism does make sense.
There's several ways of looking at these different stories, and sometimes we don't even get all the details until Will does.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like how they do the stories in flashback, and we learn. It's nice storytelling throughout the movie.
Yeah, to me this seems like a a slightly more optimistic version of Forrest Gump, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see that. There's lots of flashbacks and storytelling. But yeah, this one does seem to have a more positive outlook, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, me too. It's a very nice movie. At some point this year, we might be doing a video on our top 5 favorite Tim Burton movies, and I have a feeling this will end up on both of our lists.
I probably will if I had to guess.
So, what was your favorite part of this movie?
It's really hard because I like all of the stories that are told. I don't know. Maybe the romance part, whenever young Ed is, he sees his future wife for the first time, and then he's got to work at the circus. So maybe that whole time period then. Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Kind of strange how far he goes in order to get with this woman who's engaged to someone. Which, got to go on a little bit of a tangent here. The guy who's engaged to his future wife is played by the guy who played Roy on The Office, who was engaged to Pam. So this guy can't catch a break with girls, no matter who he plays.
Yeah, he just plays that character that is just not gonna get the girl for sure.
To do army stuff there.
Yeah.
And he ends up rescuing these twins who may or may not be actually conjoined twins, but it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't notice this before, but he's reading a translation dictionary, and it's English to Asian. It says on the cover.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, because obviously there are a lot of Asian languages, but it just says
several.
Asian.
Yeah. That's slightly racist.
It kind of is. Yeah, I didn't notice that until this time too.
But there's one more thing I'd like to point out.
What's that?
So when Ed was talking about how when you meet the love of your life, time freezes.
Mm-hmm. One of the romance parts that I like.
Yeah. So keep in mind that when you and I first met, I hadn't seen this movie at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when we did meet, I felt something similar. Like time just sort of stood still for me. Like everything seemed to stop, you know?
Aw, you trying to get brownie points or something? You're being so romantic and sweet.
Hmm?
You're so sweet.
Well, I try.
Yeah. But then what they don't tell you is time goes by 2 times as fast to catch up or whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, and then next thing I knew, we were expecting a baby.
Yeah, I know, right?
So yeah, that's Big Fish. It's a very nice movie. A bit corny, but overall pretty interesting and pretty fun.
Yeah. And I gotta tell you this because I tell everybody when I watch this movie. I've been to the set of the town Spectre that's in the movie. It's in Georgia. And it's pretty cool. There's goats living around the set buildings. I thought that was fun. And it's kind of like on this little island in like a bayou.
I was about to say a swamp.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Well, isn't a swamp the same thing as a bayou?
I guess. I really don't know.
Bayou is French.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one last thing I need to one last thing.
Okay, one last thing.
This is actually a criticism. So throughout the movie, Ed talks about how much he loves his wife and how much he's trying to get with this woman who's going to be his future wife. But then after he gets with her, she doesn't really serve much of a part. She's just sort of there.
Yeah, I will agree with you in that. She's talked about a lot, and he's motivated by her a lot, but when it comes to like a role in the movie, she has a A very, very small one.
Yeah, she's there. That's about as much as I could say.
Yeah. But yeah, I do agree with that.
Well, that'll have to do it for us, unless you have anything more to say.
I think I'm good. I really like this movie. It's a nice. It makes you feel good.
Yes, it does. So we'll catch you next time.
See you next time.